So I'm a used car dealer. This is my car lot and these are my cars. And today I'm going to tell you about the secrets that car dealers hate for you to know. So probably the number one thing that a car dealer doesn't want you to know is how much they actually have in a car. Because if you know how much they're trying to make off you, how many thousands of dollars that they're trying to make off of you on this one car deal, well, that gives you a bunch of information to know how much you can actually negotiate for. If you know that that car dealer is making $5,000 on that vehicle that they're trying to sell you, well, they'll probably take off $1,000 or $2,000 off of the car and still make $3,000 and still be very happy with actually selling you that vehicle. But the car dealers, they're very greedy, and what they want to do is they want to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. And it makes it very difficult for them if you know exactly how much they have in a car. We can talk about the used car side of things, we can talk about the new car side of things, because on the used cars, they have actually a fixed amount of money that they have in the car. They're not getting any kind of assistance from any kind of manufacturers or anything like that. So in a lot of cases, you have an exact amount of what these used car dealers actually have in that car, and that's an amount that they don't want you to know. They don't want you to have any extra leverage other than what you already have to be able to negotiate and get money off of that car. They want to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. On the new car side of things, well, even the game of knowing how much they have in a car, how much they paid for a car, is still even kind of shady. So you have invoice prices on all of these new cars that come to these franchise dealers from the manufacturer, and all of this is stuff that's on the internet. You can find it, but the invoice price doesn't tell you everything. And here's the thing: this invoice price, on paper, that is what is stated that the dealership actually pays for the car. Yes, that is true. But there are a lot of other games to be played. There's a lot of other money that's actually coming from the manufacturer to help out the dealership on the money that they're actually spending on the car. You have a few things. You have floor plan assistance that comes to the dealership. This can be between like 3 and 6% of every car that they have on their lot. You have advertising assistance. This could be up to $1,000 on some vehicles. You have holdback, which could be another couple of $1,000s that they actually have on these vehicles that are coming from the manufacturer. So you could have a brand new vehicle sitting on a franchise dealer lot that's $50,000. The invoice price could be $45,000. This is what the dealer says that they actually pay for that car. But in all actuality, after the money that's being given from the manufacturer, they might only be in that vehicle for $40,000, and it can be that much of a difference on every single vehicle. So you can have a dealer that tells you, yeah, we're going to give you invoice price, we're losing money, we're taking $500 back of invoice, we're losing money on your deal. They can be lying to your face, and they know that because of all this other money. But on paper, it says, this is our invoice, this is what we paid for it, and we're selling it to you for $500 back of that. Yeah, you might feel good as a customer if you don't know how the system works, but at the end of the day, that's not exactly how much they're paying for the car. And here's the thing, this is a number that you're never going to know. A lot of salespeople, a lot of sales managers don't even know exactly how much they're paying for the vehicles that they're selling, because a lot of this money is going to the dealer principal, it's going to the ownership of the actual company, and there are a lot of other things other than even what I just listed that manufacturers give to these dealerships to help them out on actually buying the vehicles that they're getting from the manufacturer. So another big thing that dealers don't want you to know is the out-the-door price. This is the overall cost for the vehicle. What they would rather you know is how much you're going to pay monthly for that vehicle. And the reason why they do this is because they want to be able to pack your deal full of a lot of stuff that you don't need, a lot of stuff back in F&I, a lot of the back-end products. They want to be able to charge you for a paint protectant. They want to be able to charge you extended warranties, gap insurance, things like this. And all of this they can put on the total of the car, and without you knowing exactly what you're paying, the out-the-door price, well, then you would have no clue what you're actually paying for each individual item. And what they like to do is they like to make you a payment buyer, and they want to have customers that come into their dealership and say, okay, I'm looking for a car and I want to be at $450 a month. How can we make that happen? So here's what a dealer can do. They can go in, they can get you a price on this vehicle, and then they can see that, okay, well, we can get this vehicle to about $375 a month. But when that dealer is actually going in and working the deal, since they know that you want to be at about $450 a month, well, they can go ahead and they can pack that payment full of a lot of extra things that you aren't wanting to buy. And a lot of dealerships do this, and it's very shady. And it's a big reason why they don't want you to know what you're actually paying. They don't want you to know the actual out-the-door price for the vehicle. So what I suggest to you is when you're looking at a vehicle, before you even go into the dealership, what I want you to do is I want you to call the dealership and say, look, I know you're going to have fees, you're going to have at least a dock fee, whatever. I need to know what all that stuff is before I even show up to look at the car that you have on your lot. And if they are not willing to give you an out-the-door number before you arrive at the dealership, well, that's not a dealership that I want you to shop at, because the big thing about it is that if that dealership won't give you an out-the-door price over the phone, over email, whatever, that can instantly tell you that they're wanting to charge you a bunch of extra fees, nonsense, BS, on top of the actual vehicle that you're looking at for their advertised price. They do not want you to know the out-the-door price because they're trying to bake in as much fluff as they can and just make it, just roll it in the payments and have the customer pay for it. That's what they want you to do. So another thing that car dealers don't want you to know is that they're broke. So car dealers don't, for the most part, own their inventory outright. What they do is they finance it. They do the equivalent of actually swiping a credit card for each and every car that they buy. And that means that when their cars sit for longer, it actually costs them more money in interest every single week, every single month that car sits there and doesn't sell. And see, here's the thing. This puts them in a very predatory kind of situation where they're on a time clock the second that they buy that vehicle. So as these cars sit on the lot and they don't sell, they know that the expense ticker is going up and up and up and up. So if you know how long a car has actually sat on a lot, if you watch a website and see that the car's been sitting there for months, then you can actually get a much better deal on the vehicle, because that dealer is going to be more pressured to actually get rid of that vehicle. And that's one big thing why they don't want you to know that they're broke. They don't have any money. They owe a lot of money on the vehicles that they have sitting on their lot, because as the time goes on, it pushes them more to actually need to get rid of that vehicle, and that can give you some leverage in a lot of in a lot of cases. And I'll tell you what I do on my lot in just a minute, but you can see the scenario where if a car dealer has 40, 50 vehicles and they go through a slow month, well, they're going to have interest payments that are due, and because these car dealers are broke, well, a lot of times if they don't sell a lot of cars, well, they don't have the money to begin with. So now they're going to owe their floor plan companies. That's what their lenders are called. They're called floor plan companies, and they are on a floor plan. That's their credit card that they're swiping. They have to keep this satisfied, and sometimes when they go through a couple slow weeks, a couple slow months, then they don't have the money to actually satisfy that loan. And a lot of these car dealers can get into a big time crunch. And if you know that they're in this crunch, then you're going to know that you're going to have negotiation power against a lot of these car dealers. I can tell you, for us, it's a similar situation on my car lot out here, where not necessarily I don't want you to know that a car's been sitting out here longer. I actually can tell you how you can see that my cars have been sitting for a long time, because every 2 weeks what we do is we actually cut the price by $500. I want cars that are sitting out here, even though I'm not on a floor plan, I own every one of my cars, I pay cash for them. But even so, I do not want stale inventory. So the cars that sit longer, what do? We cut by $500 every 2 weeks. And it's even a case where you could come into my car dealership and say, okay, well, what car have you had the longest? I'm going to come out here and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to say, okay, here's where we started. We might have started this car out at $3,500. The market said that's too much, or either that car is not a desirable car. And okay, we've had it for a month and a half. We're down now to where we're selling it for that'd be 3 weeks. So that'd be $1,500 of what we cut. We're down to $2,000. We might have $2,200 in that car. We're taking a loss of $200. I will show you that on my price sheet. And the cars that sit longer here at my car dealership, we're going to move them quicker than any other cars, because we're going to keep lower the price until they actually sell. But a lot of other car dealers don't want you to know that, because they want to keep their prices high. They want to make as much money off you as possible, and they don't want you to know that they're desperate to sell some of these cars. They want you to get in that car, and they want to charge you as much as possible and make as much as possible off of you. And it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because for me, I want to move metal. I want to turn and burn cars, but a lot of car dealers are greedy. They want to squeeze as much money out of you as possible. And one more thing that they don't want you to know, but you'll hear it from many, many, many car dealers. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this, both from dealers that I've tried to buy a car from, or from customers saying that they've been told this from the dealer, is that, okay, if we charge this to one person, we have to charge it to everyone. And this can be true from the dock fee, this could be paint protectant, this could be nitrogen. You have a lot of dealers out there that this is their go-to saying that, okay, if we're going to charge these extra fees, this extra BS to one customer, well, we've got to charge it to every customer. And here's the thing, there's a little truth behind that, but a lot of lie behind that. With all your fluff, all your BS, all your market add-ons, your nitrogen, your paint protectant, your fabric protectant, things like that, those are add-on accessories. Those do not have to be charged to every single customer. There's not even any kind of legal requirement that the dealer is going to have. This is an absolute lie. What I will say is, for a dock fee, and don't feel like I'm defending a dock fee. I think dock fees are ridiculous. I don't charge a dock fee. All my cars out here, you saw, if it's a $2,500 car, customers paying me $2,500 for the car, that's it. So I don't like dock fees. I don't agree with them. Here's what I will say about dock fees, though. If a dealer charges a dock fee to one customer and doesn't charge it to another one, what they can do is actually be sued for discrimination for charging it to someone and not charging it to another. So in that particular case, for the dock fee, it's actually going to be advised by the dealership's lawyers that they actually do charge that to everyone. But here's the thing, you can get around that. What they can do is they can still put that line item. If you don't want to pay that dock fee, if you don't want to pay that extra BS fee or whatever they're still trying to charge you, you can actually negotiate that off. But what you end up doing is negotiating it off the price of the car. So if they have a $1,200 dock fee, but you're just not going to pay a dock fee, you can say, well, I don't care what you charge me for the out-the-door price or whatever, but I need that to be $1,200 less than what my price was, because I want that $1,200 dock fee knocked off. I'm not going to pay a dock fee. And that's the way that you can get around it, and where the dealership cannot charge you for that dock fee, but still charge you for that dock fee, if that makes sense. And then they're legally covered. But a lot of dealerships, especially for the dock fees, they're going to do that. And even for some of these other BS fees, they're still going to say that they're charging you for them, but they just knock it off the car. But there's a little bit of truth and a lot of lie that goes along with the statement, okay, if I charge it to one person, I got to charge it to everybody.